Weekend. Building quiet, night crew gone. Then the phones light up. An outage that should have been a quick restore turns into a long drag because one spare key isn't where it's supposed to be, and the on-call vendor can't be reached. Tenants are impacted, and what should be hours becomes much longer. Today, we talk about preventing exactly that kind of drag, how a compact, well-governed emergency recovery kit can shave hours off downtime while keeping security intact. I'm Alex Morgan. On Built, Wired, and Secured, we dig into the real-world decisions that make buildings work. With me is Michael Harrington, a senior property manager who runs operations for several large commercial portfolios and lives in the land of what breaks and what gets fixed fast. Michael, thanks for joining.
Thanks, Alex. Good to be here. From an operational standpoint, nothing focuses your attention like a weekend incident that could have been prevented with a small packet of planning. I've seen that exact missing key scenario. Tenants feel this immediately, and the pressure to act fast can push teams into risky shortcuts.
Before we dig in, quick scope note for listeners. This episode is governance first. What to include in an on-site kit, who owns it, how to store and document it, and simple drills to keep it honest. We're not sharing credentials, configuration steps, or endorsing products. And if you want the one-page emergency recovery kit checklist and custody template we discuss, visit the Built, Wired, and Secured resource hub after the episode. Okay, start broad with me. Michael, when you think about what actually breaks during incidents, what are the failure modes that make recovery slow?
There are a few that repeat. Missing spares, keys, critical small parts, or a pre-configured temporary token are huge. Then credential gaps. The right temporary access or authorization isn't documented or available to the person on site. Third, communications failures. Either vendor contacts aren't reachable, or there's no vetted fallback way to coordinate recovery. What breaks if this goes down? Often, it's a chain. One missing item blocks another, and suddenly you're waiting on a vendor who's off shift.
That chain metaphor is helpful. There's a trade-off here between convenience and security. If you make everything easily available, you raise risk. If you lock everything down, you slow recovery. How do you think about that balance?
Exactly. Convenience versus governance. My rule is to design for the smallest possible convenient surface that still gets the job done. Keep the kit minimal and role-focused. Control who can access it, and require evidence and a short auditable handoff every time it's used. That way, you accept a tiny bit of friction but avoid broad exposure. That approach answers the trade-off without pretending one size fits all will work.
Let's get concrete without going technical. If a facilities team were building a compact emergency recovery kit this week, what belongs in it? High level, and why?
Keep it short, 3 to 7 critical items. Think a small set of physical spares for things that commonly fail. One vetted fallback communications device with pre-approved contacts and a power plan. Sealed temporary access tokens or authorization forms that are time-limited and signed. And a signed evidence packet template that documents what was accessed and why. Also include basic identification and a printed contact escalation tree. The key is each item maps to a role and a recovery decision. Who uses it and under what authority?
You mentioned sealed temporary access tokens and signed evidence packet. Can you explain how those work in governance terms without getting into the technical weeds?
Sure. A sealed temporary access token is a physical or documented authorization that's created ahead of time, signed by an approving authority, and only opened when a specific recovery condition is met. It carries an expiration and clear use rules. The evidence packet is a short, signed form that travels with whoever uses the token. Who accessed what, why, timestamps, and a place for the site lead and a witness to sign. That packet preserves an audit trail and reduces post-incident finger-pointing.
Ownership and storage are where things collapse in practice. Who should own the kit? Where should it live? And how do you prevent it from becoming a forgotten box in a closet?
Ownership should be a named role, an owner on the operations side, accountable for maintenance and custody, and a secondary owner in security or facilities. Storage should be predictable and documented. a secured, access-controlled location with a clear retrieval procedure. Heuristics: keep it near the operations center, but not in plain sight. Use sealed containers, so opening is noticeable. Require sign-out and evidence packet completion for every use. Also schedule maintenance into standing monthly or quarterly tasks so it's not forgotten.
And chain of custody. This is where that evidence packet becomes important, right? Walk us through a simple chain of custody rule set listeners could adopt.
Keep it short and repeatable. 1. Before opening, document the triggering condition and have an approving signature from the owner. 2. The person who retrieves the kit signs it out and takes the evidence packet. 3. A witness or secondary contact signs the packet at the site. 4. After use, return items immediately, record actions in the packet, and the owner performs a post-use audit within a defined window. These simple steps protect both security and operational speed.
Okay, so you've got the kit and custody rules. How do teams validate this actually works before an incident happens? What are lightweight acceptance tests and drills that respect tenants and operations?
3 quick checks I recommend. First, a 30-minute retrieval drill. A staffer must locate and sign out the kit and be on site with the evidence packet within 30 minutes. Second, the evidence packet audit. Randomly sample a packet once a quarter to ensure it's filled correctly and return actions are recorded. Third, a fallback comms bootstrap. Once every 6 months, validate your alternate communications path with a short scripted exchange. No system changes, just reachability and contact confirmation. Run them off hours when possible and notify tenants ahead if there's any chance they'll notice activity.
Those sound doable. Could you give 2 short, anonymized examples? One where a kit saved the day and one where the lack of a kit made things worse, so listeners can imagine outcomes?
Sure. Success. A late-night fuse failure interrupted power to a small office cluster. The on-site kit included a sealed authorization and a small approved comms device. Staff recovered service in under an hour because they could access a temporary power bypass under the governance rules, recorded everything in the evidence packet, and the vendor followed up in the morning. Tenants missed a coffee break instead of a full morning. Failure. A weekend network outage where the only on-call vendor was unreachable and no fallback contact was documented. Teams spent hours tracking people down. That missing planning and that missing single point of contact turned a repair into a multi-day saga. Tenants feel this immediately.
Powerful contrast. As we wrap, give listeners 3 immediate actions they can take this week to move toward an emergency recovery kit that actually works.
Number 1. Identify and name the kit owner and a backup. Put it in a role description or ops checklist this week. Number 2. Assemble a 1-page contents list and create a sealed evidence packet template. Nothing technical, just the paperwork and decision points. Number 3. Schedule a 30-minute retrieval drill within the next 30 days and a fallback comms check within 90 days. Those 3 moves establish ownership, documentation, and validation quickly.
Great. For listeners who want the checklist and the custody template we discussed, visit the Built, Wired, and Secured Resource Hub and download the Emergency Recovery Kit one-pager. There's also a sample evidence packet you can adapt. Implement the 3 actions Michael laid out, and you'll be surprised how much friction you remove when things go wrong.
And one last practical reminder. When you build this, be conservative about what you put in the kit and liberal about your documentation. That balance keeps tenants safe and operations moving. That's fine until it fails. So plan the flights, not the parachute packing.
Solid advice. Thanks for joining, Michael, and for the real-world perspective. And to our listeners, visit the hub, grab the checklist, and start with those 3 actions. Built to last, wired with intention, secured for the real world.